Demon Roommate Chronicles. I never should have thrown that Halloween party. I mean, I thought it was a good idea at the time. My place was decorated to the nines. Fake cobwebs stretched across the ceiling, plastic skeletons in the corners, even a fog machine wheezing like it was on its last breath. I spent hours setting up, and even more money on snacks and drinks. My friends swore they'd be here by 8. By 9, no one had shown up. I checked my phone. No messages. Just an eerie silence filling the house, broken only by the distant howl of the wind outside. Great. Maybe this was some elaborate prank. At 9:13, the doorbell rang. Finally. I practically sprinted to the door, ready to lay into whoever showed up late. I yanked it open and froze. It wasn't any of my friends. A towering figure stood there, cloaked in shadows despite the porch light. Its skin was ashen gray, cracked like scorched earth. His eyes burned a deep, smoldering red, and twisted horns curled from his skull like jagged tree roots. In his clawed hand was a rusted, blood-stained scythe. Before I could slam the door, it lunged, knocking me back into the living room. I crashed into the snack table, sending chips and soda flying.
You're the one.
It growled, voice like grinding stone.
Your soul is forfeit.
I was too stunned to even scream. What?
The contract.
It hissed.
I was summoned to kill you, Mr. Gary Smith.
Why me? Wait, that's not my name, I stammered, mind scrambling for words. Check your contract thingy. The demon squinted, its burning gaze sweeping over the room. It paused, pulling a crumpled scroll from thin air and reading it slowly. After a tense silence, it cursed under its breath.
Damn it. Wrong address.
My knees gave out. Seriously? It sighed, sounding almost embarrassed.
It happens more than you think.
We stared at each other awkwardly for a moment. Then, in a weird burst of desperation, not wanting to be alone, I blurted out, well, you want to stay? I mean, I have a ton of snacks and The Shining on Blu-ray. The demon tilted his head.
Snacks?
Yeah, Doritos, candy corn, Mountain Dew. His eyes glimmered, not with malice, but with something far more terrifying. Interest. An hour later, we were sprawled out on the couch. The demon munched noisily on pretzels while I nursed a root beer. We watched Jack Torrance lose his mind in that creepy hotel, exchanging occasional commentary.
See?
It said, gesturing at the screen with a claw.
That's where he messed up. You don't chase humans. You let them come to you.
I nodded thoughtfully. Solid advice. When the credits rolled, the demon stretched with a groan.
Well, thanks for the snacks and the company.
Anytime, I said, meaning it. You, wanna hang out next Halloween? It considered me, lips curling into something halfway between a snarl and a smile.
We'll see.
And with that, it vanished in a puff of sulfur and smoke, leaving only an empty bowl of candy corn behind. Best Halloween ever. After the demon left, I figured that was the weirdest thing that would ever happen to me. Boy, was I wrong. I cleaned up the snack table, still half expecting my friends to text me with some lame excuses. They never did. It was close to midnight when I finally crashed on the couch, flicking through random horror movies. Just as I started to drift off, there was a loud thud against the front door. Heart pounding, I grabbed the nearest weapon, a plastic skull from my decorations, and crept toward the door. Before I could peek through the peephole, the door swung open on its own, hinges groaning. There he was again, the demon. His sight was gone, but his claws dripped with something dark and unspeakable. His crimson eyes gleamed in the dim light, You again? I stammered.
I finished my business.
It rumbled, wiping its claws on a rag that might have been someone's t-shirt.
Got the right soul this time.
I swallowed hard. Good job? It stepped inside, sniffing the air.
Still smells like Doritos in here.
I blinked, still trying to process the fact that a literal soul-reaping demon was back in my living room. So, why are you here? Its cracked lips curled into that unsettling, almost smile.
It's Halloween. The one night humans expect monsters. I never get to participate.
Participate? How? I asked, my voice shaky. It tilted its head like I was slow.
Scaring children.
Before I could respond, the doorbell rang. My stomach dropped. Trick or treat, a chorus of little voices called outside. I turned back to the demon. No, you can't. But it was already heading for the door, claws flexing in excitement. Wait, you'll traumatize them, I hissed. It paused, considering.
That's the point.
I rushed over and yanked the cheap vampire cape from my costume stash, tossing it over the demon's shoulders. Wear this, it frowned, confused. Trust me, I insisted. You'll still be scary, just less murdery. Reluctantly, it fastened the cape around his neck. The result was honestly terrifying. The demon looked like a 7-foot-tall vampire warlord, fresh from the pits of hell. The doorbell rang again, more insistent this time. With a dramatic flourish, the demon threw the door open, looming in the doorway like something out of a nightmare. Boom! It roared, voice echoing like thunder. The group of kids screamed, then burst into delighted laughter. Whoa, cool costume, one kid shouted. How'd you do the glowing eyes? Is that real blood? Asked another, awestruck. The demon blinked, clearly thrown off by their excitement.
Yes.
They cheered and held out their candy bags expectantly. After an awkward pause, I shoved handfuls of candy into their bags. Happy Halloween, I called, waving as they ran off. The demon watched them go, still processing what had happened.
They enjoyed being scared?
Yeah, I shrugged. Humans are weird like that. It stared at me for a long moment, then nodded slowly.
I like this tradition.
For the rest of the night, the demon stayed by the door, answering trick-or-treaters with terrifying glares and deep-voiced warnings about eternal doom. The kids ate it up. A few even asked for selfies. By the time the streets emptied, the demon looked content.
This was fun.
It admitted grudgingly. Glad you enjoyed it. I handed it the last mini Snickers. It studied the candy, then stuffed it into some unseen pocket.
Next year, I will return.
Looking forward to it. With a low, rumbling chuckle, the demon vanished in a swirl of smoke. I shut the door, shaking my head. This time, I wasn't even surprised. Halloween was never going to be boring again. Life had pretty much gone back to normal after Halloween. Or as normal as life can be after hosting a soul-reaping demon for snacks and trick-or-treat duty. I figured that bizarre chapter was closed for good. Then, 3 weeks later, he came back. It was a stormy Friday night. Thunder rumbled outside as I sat on my couch, scrolling mindlessly through TV shows. Just as I was about to settle on some true crime doc, the lights flickered, and then he appeared. The air turned cold, and the familiar scent of sulfur and ash filled the room.
We meet again,
the demon intoned, his voice like stone grinding against steel. He stood by the window, rain streaking the glass behind him, looking as menacing as ever, dark robes billowing despite there being no wind. I groaned. Seriously? I thought we were done with this. His His burning eyes narrowed.
I require assistance.
I blinked. Assistance. From me? He folded his clawed hands behind his back, clearly struggling to admit it.
Yes,
Why?
there is a task.
He said slowly, like he hated explaining things.
A dangerous soul that must be claimed. One too cunning to be taken directly.
Okay, and where do I come in?
You will be the lure.
I stared at him, heart pounding. You want me to be bait for some evil spirit creature?
Yes,
I immediately shook my head. No way. I don't do demon bounty hunting. I'm barely managing my regular human life. The demon took a slow step forward, towering over me.
the target preys on mortals. You will be safe as long as you follow my instructions.
That's not exactly comforting. He sighed, clearly losing patience.
I protected you once, did I not?
I hesitated, remembering Halloween night. He had spared me and seemed to enjoy hanging out after. Before I could argue further, he added,
In exchange, I will owe you a favor.
my eyebrows shot up. A favor?
A binding promise.
He growled.
One request. No tricks.
I considered this. Having a literal demon in my debt sounded weirdly useful. Alright, I sighed. What do I have to do? His cracked lips twisted into something almost like a smile.
Excellent.
20 minutes later, I found myself standing in a deserted parking lot behind an old rundown motel. The rain had stopped, leaving the air thick and cold. The demon stood in the shadows nearby, nearly invisible except for the faint red glow of his eyes. What exactly are we hunting? I whispered, shivering.
A wraith.
He hissed.
A collector of souls. It feeds on fear.
Oh, great, I muttered, pulling my hoodie tighter. And how do I lure it out?
You must appear vulnerable,
He explained.
frightened, alone.
So, just be myself then. Before he could respond, a chill colder than the rain crept over my skin. The streetlights flickered, casting eerie shadows that stretched unnaturally long. The demon stiffened.
It is here.
Suddenly, the shadows shifted, and something moved at the edge of my vision. A hollow, raspy whisper drifted through the air.
Lost, all alone, so afraid.
My breath hitched as a pale, twisted figure emerged from the darkness. A gaunt, eyeless humanoid draped in rotting shrouds. Its bony fingers twitched with anticipation. The demon stepped forward, claws gleaming, but the wraith lashed out fast, sending him crashing into a row of rusted dumpsters.
You lied.
The wraith screeched, turning his eyeless gaze towards me.
Not alone.
Thinking fast, I did the only thing that came to mind. I screamed like a terrified idiot and bolted toward the nearest streetlight. The wraith shrieked and twisted the light, falling for it. It lunged after me with unnatural speed, skeletal claws outstretched. And that's when the demon struck. He materialized from the shadows behind it, claws wreathed in crimson fire. With a savage roar, he plunged his claws into the wraith's chest, dragging it back into the dark. The wraith screeched and twisted, its form flickering like static on a broken TV. Shadows writhed around them both, and for a moment I couldn't tell who was winning, until the wraith let out one final, gurgling scream and disintegrated into ash. Breathing hard, the demon straightened, flickering dark ichor from his claws.
It is done.
I stumbled toward him, heart still hammering. You could have warned me that thing was fast,
You survived.
he said matter-of-factly.
That was adequate.
Jeez, thanks, I muttered. He studied me for a moment, something almost respectful in his burning eyes.
The debt is sealed.
He rumbled.
When you require assistance, call for me.